And we seem to be live. Hello and welcome to this smallish panel on inclusion and diversity. And I think we're going to start with a small introduction round so that you know who everyone is. And so let's get started. So I'm Jens. My role is more or less a technical moderator. Chandler is a bit in the role of, scheduling and moderating a bit with me. And also, having opinions on diversity, he has too. And then we have the panelists. And unfortunately, not everyone from the panelists could come. There were a few cancellations, so that's what we have right now. Maybe we have a few people join later. I will bring them in if that's the case. Otherwise, let's get started with the introduction.
So Jens already mentioned that my name is Chandler, but just so you all know why I'm here, I think diversity and inclusivity and equity are some of the things I really care most about in the C++ world, and I'm just really happy to kind of support the three fabulous panelists we have here. And I'll kick off introductions, and I think Tina, why don't you lead off with introductions?
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is Tina. I'm C++ developer for about 6 years now. It's not my first job. I did something before. I'm not that young. I work for the Rosen Technology and Research Center, and we do line inspections of oil and gas pipelines. So that's what I'm doing.
Fantastic. For the record, C++ was my first job, and so I have no experience at all. It's really tragic. Patricia, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yes, hi, I'm Patricia Wells. I'm a C++ developer and working in C++ for 16 years. It was my first job with C++, but I have dabbled in other languages as well. I work for a company that I co-founded, which is called TurtleSec, which does consulting in the area of between programming and security in various programming languages. And I've worked at Opera Software, working on the Opera browser, and Vivaldi, working on the Vivaldi browser, and even made some telepresence systems at Cisco. So yeah.
Fantastic. Hannah, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Hannah, and C++ was also my first job, and I'm working in C++, I think it's now 13 years, probably, I'm not sure exactly. And I work in Avast, and we are also sponsor of diversity and inclusion initiative on this conference. And I think Jens knows the exact number. Jens, you are mute.
We've got the person on mute.
I want to welcome Philippe. We are in the introduction round, and thank you for the sponsorship from Avast and Hannah, of course. And yeah, so we have 38, if I calculate correctly. No, 39. Yeah, I think 39. 28 students and 11 support tickets. So that's 39. And then I want to, we have another panelist which has arrived. Welcome, Philippe. You have given a talk at the conference and agreed to join the panel. So we are just finishing the introduction round, and the word is yours.
Yeah, please introduce yourself. Oh, we may have lost internet.
Yeah.
It looks like possibly lost internet. Okay, we'll add Philippe back if we can.
Yeah.
So with that, why don't we go to?
All right.
And it's back, Philippe. Please introduce yourself. Possibly.
I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit of trouble. Okay, I'm having trouble with my internet connection. I don't know why it's working. Not working right now. So my name is Philippe Mulonde. I am from Angola. It's a country in the south of Africa. I hold a bachelor degree in software engineering from the St. Petersburg Polytechnic University from Russia. And I'm currently a master degree student in AI and machine learning at the same university. Yes, I think that's all.
Fantastic.
So the audience should have some questions, but yeah, so I don't want to wait for the audience to have questions. So Chandra, do you have like an opening question? Okay.
Absolutely. I'd love to just hear from each of the panelists, just, you know, a short, the most recent experience that you've encountered. It can be at work, it can be, you know, just interacting with the broader industry or community, where kind of people's inclusive behavior had a positive impact on you. Just like whatever the most recent time you remember someone doing something that really made you feel included, made you feel welcome in participating in kind of a professional context. Who wants to go first with something they remember? Was that a yes, Patricia?
that was basically, I've been fighting 2 Norwegian technical newspapers for about 2 weeks now, so maybe not me.
Positive. I was aiming for positive experiences.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I didn't put my hand up. No, but I have to say, yeah, I have been fighting the 2 major technical newspapers in Norway for the past 2 weeks, but the large majority of the technical community in Norway across all programming languages have been extremely supportive. So I've hardly had any pushback. If people have agreed with me on my points, which was basically publishing anti-women content is not something we do in 2021 in the tech industry, and they should just stop. So basically, I have to say that on the whole, even though it was a fight that I know a lot of men even were afraid to do. A lot of men DM'd me saying that this was too scary for them to do. I did get a lot of support behind the scenes and publicly. So I would say that is a good sign. At least, unfortunately, these are, you know, the largest technical outlets in Norway. So it's still, you know.
Anyone else have a recent memory of something that where they just felt like they were included or welcomed? For what it's worth, Patricia, I'm just counting the support you got at part of that. So I think the support is really wonderful there. Hannah, go ahead.
I'm not sure. I recently, like it's actually a year and a half or something, we start big DNI activity in Alost, and we are actively pushing people to think differently, to fight bias, and from that moment, I don't have like anything personal, but the percentages of people staying is suddenly much bigger for women. So it's like objective measurement, so that's positive, I think.
That's fantastic.
So it's not like in vain these activities, not just mentoring, but also like actively creating positions for juniors, pushing managers. You don't want to just hire seniors, you want to also hire juniors, and you want to teach them. So yeah, that really helps, and I can see difference. It's small steps, but yeah.
Anything in your recent memory, Tina?
Not sure. It's not too recent, but ever since I joined the Hash Include Discord server, I felt like very included in the C++ community, or at least in this part of the C++ community. And they all encouraged me to give talks, and I'm still very new to that and still very nervous. but I think it's up until now it was an amazing experience, and also my employer is very supportive of me doing this, and yeah, so that's what makes me feel included there.
That's fantastic. So I'll ask my other kind of prompt question, but this one, if you just like top first thing that comes to mind, like if there was something that you could kind of ask colleagues or people you interact with professionally to stop doing, not something big and serious, but like a little thing that, you know, bugs you in some way. They're sometimes called microaggressions, but it can just be something that annoys you and you know, you really would like for people to take an extra effort to try and avoid. What would that one thing be?
I have 3.
Okay, Hannah, you can have 3. Go for it.
Okay, first, stop using term like female developers. That's annoying me really much. Second, stop using guys. Hey guys, you guys. And third, and that's just recent. That's my small fight. Stop removing accents and diacritics from names. So if some on some pages and please type it in ASCII only. No, my name is Hana Dusíková. A is long, not short.
If I say guys at some point here, please call me out on it. I'm now really worried I'm going to mess this up, but I'll try. I will be trying. Who else has something they would just like to kind of, you know, politely ask people to you know, take down a set? Tina, go ahead.
Yeah, I have something. What I noticed a lot mostly with new colleagues, but also when I joined my team, because I'm the only woman in my team, people assume I don't know anything. I know they don't mean badly. It's bias. I know that, but I want people to be more aware of that. And if a man joins the team with the same experience that I had back then, they are believed right away that they can do the job, and it was not the case for me.
Yeah. Patricia?
But 1000% with Tina's. I could walk into a team with 10 years of professional experience, and I would be treated as less competent than a newly grad guy that didn't program C++ in his life. It's ridiculous. And it's happened again and again and again. So being assumed not competent, being assumed that you are not there as a developer, that you are in some other role, not being listened to, being talked down to, ignored. Oh yeah, all of those things. Yes, very much. But as another person in the room, I would say, having like in a meeting, I've had all of these things happen to me a million times. I almost never had a guy say that's not okay, but I've had a bunch of guys go to me privately after the meeting saying, oh, what they did to you in the meeting was not okay. And that's not enough. I had to sit in it, so you should sit in it with me. You know, I have to always sit in it, so you should sit in it with me on occasion. Right? So definitely, if you see a woman being treated this way in a meeting, instead of like feeling bad silently inside, you say, you know what she said, that was really good. We should definitely talk about that. Or, excuse me, I'd like to hear what, her finish her sentences, because that was really interesting. Just like, oh yeah, I think it's great that you're bringing up the point that Tina had earlier. There are many ways of lending privilege as a powerful person in a room, and it doesn't have to be very confrontational. It can taking some tricks out of the bag and making sure that you like tilt that power balance a little bit. That is definitely something I think everyone could do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have like some additional to the story because just recently some recruiter like convinced me to talk with them. So I talked with them, and we talked, and they said to me, and after 2 years, you will move from to some more senior role from junior role. Like, yes, it happened to me just a few days ago. So yeah, it happens everywhere and every time and to everyone.
Oh my
I don't
God.
know. I don't know if
Does he have any idea who you are? No, he can't, right? Oh my God. Oh shit. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and they told me they are looking explicitly for people from C++ community, from conferences, and
I particularly like looking for people from the standards committee for the programming language for a junior role. That is, I think that is a challenging leap.
yeah.
I was going to see if Philippe's internet is behaving. Maybe. I suspect that he and Jens have been working on internet connection and seeing if they can fix it. But let's go to the first, I think, audience question here.
Yes.
If you can hear me.
We can.
Yes, we can do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Philippe, do you have either a positive inclusive experience in memory or something you'd like to kind of we've lost it again. All right. I think we should go to the first audience question.
Go to the audience question then.
Yeah. So the first one we have here.
What is your opinion on safe spaces? Can a space only be safe for a specific set of people, e.g., women, asterisk, BIPOC, trans? When they stay in that group, doesn't that make things worse because they are not included with everybody else? Okay. Patricia?
Okay. Yeah, I did my physical hand
go
up.
for
Okay, I've been thinking about this lately, actually, because I'm before the pandemic, I started doing like a conference here in Norway, and one of the things that I did, which a lot of men here found weird, is that I said that you couldn't have a man on stage. Like there was no men speaking at this conference, there were only women speakers. And then they were like, oh, then I can't come. And I'm like, why? And it's like, no, then it's a woman-only conference. And I'm like, okay, so do you say that to women that go to conferences where there are only male speakers? And they were like, I was like, so I basically said, yeah, there will be no men speaking, but everyone is allowed to be like, come, welcome. I want you to come. I want you to see these amazing speakers. So that is one context, right? I spent like a lot of time like promoting women to as speakers and in all sorts of ways in this conference, but it wasn't a conference that was only for women. But at the same time, men are used to a lot being in contexts that are technical with only other men. Like it happens all the time. And I know because I walk into these rooms as the only woman. so I know there are many rooms where there are only men in tech. But as a woman, there's so rarely I will walk into a room where there are only women. We have to construct those kinds of rooms. And that is true for a lot of like minority groups in tech, that they have never actually sat in a room and looked around and like these people look like me, you know? So these two things are not opposites, they're complementary. Sometimes you need to walk into a room with other people like you just to let your shoulders down for a little bit, you know? Just to breathe. and other times we want to get together and showcase to each other that, you know, and so for me, these things are not opposites. They are complementary, and I don't think one should rule out the other. Okay, so that was my 2 cents.
Hannah or Tina, anything you want to add on this one? Go ahead.
I heard somewhere, I don't know the exact numbers, but I heard somewhere that men feel outnumbered by women if the women percentage is like 40%, or I think it wasn't even 40, I think it was less, and men feel outnumbered. And we can only change that by having more women and more other diverse people in those spaces, because that feeling, they get uncomfortable. Just like 30% women or so in the room, they get uncomfortable. And there was a study somewhere, don't quote me on that. But we can only change that if we have a more diverse audience. And I think it's beneficial to everyone. I have colleagues that came up to me and told me that they're happy that they have at least one woman in the team because it changes the team dynamic, and the men are also in the meetings they're just nicer and not that competitive with each other. And so I think it would benefit everyone.
Hannah, anything on this one, particularly the idea of safe spaces that are only for a single group?
I think Patricia said it all, but by creating something which is additional to everything else, we are not subtracting anything from the rest.
I love the point that spaces and safe spaces are not a zero-sum game. We can add more of them, especially virtual spaces like this. We can have more of them. Fantastic. Jens, how about a second question from the audience?
Sure. And just let me add that, we have enough open spaces, so I think that safe spaces are quite fun to have. It's not like that we have to replace everything with them, and of course they're not inclusive because they are by definition, for a certain group, for definition. I have an interesting question from Jonathan O'Connor. I am active in both of the chess and C++ communities. However, I know almost no LGBTQI members of the chess community, whereas I know quite a few LGBTI people in the C++ community. Do you think the C++ community is accepting of difference?
Interesting question. Hannah, I saw your hand go up first. Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, I think it's getting better. I don't know chess community, but it's getting better.
Patricia, go ahead.
So I think pre hash include, not so much. But that I think had to do with a lot of people being isolated in their respective companies and teams, and and then having a community where that was important, and meeting other people that were like you on many axes many times, I think has helped in people feeling less alone and isolated and finding community. And also, like, even if it's virtual, like it's a Discord, really, that's like the major part of the community, we still can meet each other at conferences, and if you're an attendee and you've been in the Discord, and then you go to a conference, and then there's like a hash include dinner, then you can go to the dinner and you can talk to these people, and you know them, so you have an idea on how safe they are, but also it's often in a group setting, so it might feel much less isolating. So I think that the crossover between the hash include Discord and real life is really important.
Fantastic. And I'm crossing my fingers that Philippe's internet connection remains stable. Tina, did you have a comment on kind of the chess community versus C++ community dynamic and inclusivity in the C++ community?
Not really. I have no idea about the chess community. The feeling that I have is that it's even more male-dominated as the C++ community, which might be a factor into this. But before I agree with Patricia. Before I got involved with the hash include community, I didn't really knew any like trans people in the C++ community or even gay people. It's yeah, hash include is like a safe space for them and for us.
Fantastic. It's super awesome to hear all of the kind of impact that hash include has had across the C++ community. Philippe, I don't know if you heard all of the question, but we're trying. There was just a question about whether C++ was accepting of differences for the kind of LGBTQI community, especially in comparison to the chess community. I don't know if you want to jump in on this one.
I really don't have a. I don't know the another side. That's why I think I will not be able to comment on this one. I don't know the chess community.
Sure. What do you think, Kent? Do you have another audience question we should go to here?
Yes, we do, but let me shortly also comment on this. I think that has a lot to do with trust, and you don't see the sexuality of a person, other like skin color or something. So there might be probably more diverse chess players out there than you think. And there's some other sports where that is very well known, like soccer or football. So let me see what's the highest upvoted question. What is your view on employing senior people in terms of age in a developer role whose dev skills are up to date and who have a long record of experience in terms of skills, abilities, roles? I'm asking for the perspective of age discrimination.
That's a fantastic question. Philippe, since you are most recent joining the panel, why don't you start us off here?
Let me just read the question again.
What is your view on employing senior people in terms of age in a developer role whose dev skills are up to date and who have long record of experience in terms of skills, abilities, etc.? And what, like, from a perspective of age discrimination.
I'm just read the question very well because what's my age? So what? Let me just question again is to see if I really understand the question. It's about employing old people or senior people in terms of age.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it should be. Yeah, it's actually a really important question because I am a person that like to think about the future a lot because I like to be ready in order to avoid surprises. So, and I like to look around the world and to see how we treat different people based on different requisites. And something that really worries me a lot is about getting old, because I don't see that the world is really working to include old people. I mean, if you look at movies, look at music, you look at every kind of entertainment that we have today, is only for a certain kind of age. So we are really excluding old people. And it's not only about software, it's actually in general, right? There is few things that is being done in the world in which the target is old people, or actually thinking to address all the peoples in general. So I think it's really important because these people are full of experience, and the experience is really important in terms of software development. And for myself, for example, when I'm studying C++, or any new kind of technology, I like to understand technology from the point of view of evolution. I don't care only about the state in which something is today. I like how these things evolved, how why the thing is what it is today, for example. And I think old people are the ones that have the answers. They were in the field, they know everything, and if they are really active in the field, they probably have almost all the answers that we need. So I think it's really important to put these people in the teams, because even though technology, I say, we have new technology, but the foundation of this technology are old techniques. Even the new techniques that seems to be different are just evolution of old techniques. So, and these people should be there because understanding something is, for me at least, I like from the evolution point of view. That's why I think these people, there is no reason actually to take someone for a position just because they are old, right? I think it's more advantage than actually anything else.
After my own heart. Fantastic answer. Does anyone want to try and follow up? Hannah, please.
Yeah, I think there is no difference regarding age, sexuality, gender, race, in terms of like logical thinking, analytical thinking. So if you want to be software engineer, whatever you want, whatever you are, you can be software engineering, and you should be allowed to do it. And if you are not, then it's bad.
Patricia, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I really liked Felipe's point about bringing different experiences to our teams, because we are making software for the world. We're making software for everyone, from children to old people, from people of all different nationalities and languages. And having teams that represent these perspectives means that we will be notified and have in mind things that we wouldn't otherwise. So I think he spoke very well. So I don't really have anything to add other than to say it was awesome.
Yeah. Tina, just an opportunity if you want to jump in too.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything meaningful to add. I just agree with everyone that everyone brings something unique to the table, and we shouldn't exclude anyone.
Fantastic. Jens, how about another audience question?
You muted, Jens.
We have a very similar question. What do you think if health conditions, disabilities, I think if it's an off, what do you think of health conditions, disabilities when it comes to recruiting staff for your team? Most of the time not being able to relocate results in a strong no, which is strange to me as a C++ developer, as C++ developers are hard to hire. That's a reference to my own talk from this morning, and developers can work in remote, right?
So this is always a question. I think it's also very relevant right now coming out of a global pandemic. Tina, do you want to start us off here?
I think companies should be more open for remote work. I see that companies had it easy to switch to remote work during the pandemic, but now they're switching back to going to the office, and I don't really see a reason for that, other than I want to see my developers in the office and, need the control, need to see them. If I don't see them working, they're not working. I think for most of us, working remotely worked really well, and I don't see the need for most programming jobs to be on site.
Who else wants to chime in on this one?
Well, okay. So
Go ahead,
so remote work is one type of accommodation, but I also think that we should support different types of accommodations. So one thing I've talked to some people with chronic illness or some kind of challenge that is it takes up a lot of time and energy in their lives, and then we need more support for people working part-time, people being able to flex around their health, and also to have the opportunity to just rest when they need to rest. And so being just like flexible about, I need to take a week off because my health is bad right now, but still get paid, because we all need to support ourselves. And I think and the thing is, it's like, you have, like, for me, I've had 3 children in my life, each time with different types of health issues, which means that in different parts of my life, I have been disabled for periods of time. So people are not necessarily always permanently disabled, and they are not necessarily disabled in the same degree over time either. So being able to to trust people more. And I think that comes back to what Tina said about you don't have to look at people to know that they're working. If you can't really trust the people that are working for you, then you're probably not a great boss. So maybe you shouldn't do that. You should if you hired these people, then you should trust these people and I support them so that they can do their best work.
Fantastic. Could not agree more. Hannah, anything you want to add, or Felipe? Sorry, Philippe. Got it wrong. Go for it, Philippe.
Yeah, I think it is it's an important question because I'm from Angola, as I said. It's a country in the south of Africa, and I'm currently in Russia. So but I have connection with friends that are in my country, and they're real talented people, but they struggle a lot to get how can I say to get a job remotely. And I think even when the opportunity is not only to work in remote mode, when even the company is trying to help developers to move to the country where the company is, it's not only the problem. I'm not here to defend any company. I'm not trying to justify the behavior. But what I'm trying to say is that the government also need to do something, right? Because it's a very bureaucratic process to reallocate someone. And I will say here my experience, for example, when they include C++, for example, give me the opportunity to attend a Akuku conference in London, in Bristol, in UK. Well, I had everything to get the opportunity to be there, but my visa was rejected. And I don't know the reasons why, but maybe because the profile is where you come from. So it's not only for the point of view of company. I think it's more systematic than we think. So I think the government and companies need to work together in order to do something similar. Another.
Give it a second in case he can reconnect.
Yeah, I have something to add. Not like from like it's kind of systematic, but it's it's small thing in my like. Yeah, Philip is back. We should continue.
Yeah, please finish.
I'm starting to have problems. Yes, for example, there is a DeepMind, for example. It's a very nice company, for example. But for them, even if you want to work remotely, you need to be in the place, for example. And this is, I don't think it's the problem only the company. I think I think that DeepMind is a very diverse company, but I think that here the problem is the government that is to rule the company in order to only, even if it's a remote position, need to be the person need to be in the country. So that's my answer for this question.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I just wanted to say about small things which blocks people from working in office if they want. If there's some disability, they for example we had quite big problem with heavy doors. We have heavy doors in corridors.
In the office? Oh yeah.
Yes, and it's really hard to convince responsible people to do something about it, because for them it's not an issue, but for one, maybe two people, it's a big issue, and yeah, and it makes them really hard to work there for them to work there, and they will say to friends they know, but also people talks about these problems, and it's sometimes even it's small things can be problematic, in terms of inclusivity. So
absolutely, big and little things, from governments to doors, all of these different things. One thing I will say is at a big company that has not always had a great reputation for remote hiring, I've been at least happy that my part of the company is increasingly trying to just embrace flexibility. Some people want to be in the office, and so we're trying to get the offices open for them. Some people don't want to be in the office, and so we're trying to make sure they can do that. And I think kind of increasingly taking a flexibility prioritized mindset is a great way to strike a balance here, but it is hard and it takes work. And it takes work at all the levels, from doors all the way up to government. So it's all this is fantastic. Jens, what do you think about getting the next audience question? I think we could get to a new one. You're muted though.
We can't hear you, Jens.
Now you can hear me.
Yes.
So I would like to hear a bit more from Philip about the he's active with an organization called Association of Angolan Programmers, if I got that right. And we don't often have a guest which is from Africa, as I assume. So that's something new, which I see. Like I had just been also a speaker from Benin at Meeting Embedded. So I would like to hear a bit about that perspective.
Thanks for the question. When it was like 2 years ago, I attended the CPP Russia conference, and I meet a lot of people there, Simparent, Bryce, and many other folks from the civil plus community. And it was a really wonderful experience, and it really touched me a lot. And because I really realized that we, as a student, I think when you are surrounded by people like those folks, for example, the opportunity to learn is amazing, because it's a really strict place, but if you're really aware enough, you can start finding patterns here that is really important for your career, for example. You can see what the way they behave, the things they speak, for example, and the World Conference environment is very inspiring. And being close to chat with these people that are in the field, that are working from the things that are driving the world, is really important and have really high impact on people. And being there with these people touched me a lot. So I decided that, well, I need to do something with respect to that with people from my country, for example. And I'm from Angola, for example, and of course there is issues towards education, for example. And very recently, even the president came out and saying that the education in the country is not really okay. So this kind of thing, this kind of problems, I say, okay, I cannot solve everything, but maybe there is things that I can do in order to also help others. So I start the Association of Angolan Programmers. It's a really right now, because there is not enough resources like time, for example. I'm only creating live conversation with experienced developers in order to bring them close to Angolan programmers and people interested in computer science, to bring them to give them the steps that they need sometimes in order to achieve, in order to start different paths in computer science. It's also important for me because I want to diversify the technology that I've been using in my country, for example. Most of people there are more in mobile development, and some are going now in AI, others in web development, but there is not a lot of people in system programming, for example. So that's why I'm actually trying to bring people from different fields, computer architecture, system programming, and the goal now is really to, when I bring someone, is for them to give us the steps for someone to start, like to show the path, to show the career in 2 hours or 1 hour, so the more people from Africa and from my country can start diversifying the fields on where they are. And there also the problem. There is also another problem that I want to solve, is to synchronize people. For example, to have how can I say? Is to help them I'm missing the word here to use. But it's kind of you start a project with someone, and these people is really experienced in this field, and you can actually how can I say? You can help younger people that want to start. For example, you can pick a project, you can suggest, and we in Angola, we try to, you can propose a project. We in Angola, we try to filter the best person that fits in that position, so that you can work them and give them some experience and give them more practical experience on the field that you want to drive this person. So there is a lot of goals, that you want to achieve with this association. It's only at the beginning, but there is a lot of work. And if you here want to give a talk, want to help with the project, you just need to contact me, right? If you know, for example, that you have a project that you can mentor. Actually, I found the word. If you can mentor an Angolan student in order to help them evolve in this particular field, just contact me, and it will be more than welcome.
That's fantastic.
All right. Shall we take a question from the audience?
Yes.
I quickly will paste the Twitter account to the audience in the chat. Then, how do you approach management regarding chronic disease health issues when you're expected to power through?
Go for it, Patricia. Go for it.
Okay. Maybe Hannah can do this one.
Okay.
Okay. Actually, I have chronic migraines, and I told my manager, and if he didn't accept, like, but sometimes I unable to work, I would probably find different manager, because it's their job to, like, enable me to work. And if they are failing in that, they are bad.
I like it. Right to the point. They're not doing it. They're bad. Patricia.
Yeah, and it's an illusion, right? It's like you can't power through. You're sick. It's like the only thing what's going to happen now. It's going to get worse. So it's not a solution. It's an illusion. So no, people need time to heal. They need time to take care of themselves. They need time to, and this doesn't, you have chronic health issues, but you have the same problem with burnout, right? There's no way to power through burnout. You're just powering down the same hole. So it's not going to work.
Powering down the same hole is a very on the nose expression. Tina or Philippe?
Yeah, I also think you shouldn't have to power through anything, not just because of your own health. I mean, that's the most important, but also how good is the work going to be? I mean, if your manager has any sense, then they should know that the work isn't good if you're not well. And it's best for everyone if you get well first and then go back to work.
Philippe, anything you want to add here?
Yes. Again, I think some companies, for example, we talk a little bit about my experience. But for the first company I worked for, we kind of needed to every day give a report of what we did, what we work, and even the hour that we worked. I think it's. I don't think it's complete. It's really okay, because I think when you give people goals that you give them enough time to work on, you don't need actually to keep controlling the person. Every activity that the person does can really help a lot of people that have disability. I think there is days that we can work a lot. I think there is sometimes you can, in one day, maybe you can do the work of a week, for example. And actually, when you only give the goal, okay, you have this time and you need to bring a result in this amount, and this a certain amount of time, is really more reasonable than to come out, oh, every day I want to see you doing something. So I think if you want to help disabled people, I think this is kind of policy that we need to start using, because I think goals are more important than trying to controlling people every day. Because even sometimes people they didn't produce, they didn't actually make a lot of progress today, but sometimes you will force people to come out with some kind of lies so that you can not report them as not making progress, for example. And I don't think it will just cause more harms than actually help. So I think it's time for us. I'm not saying that there is no people work on research in this particular field, but I think it's becoming really more important to have more people work and doing research on the way we work, because actually it's really, really, really important. And it's not only also about doing research, but managers and companies start to listen to these people, right? Because it is really important because the product is not more important than the people. So that's what we'd say.
Yeah. One thing I also want to mention here, right? Like if Philippe, you mentioned some days you can do different amounts of work. Some people at some times can do different amounts of work too. And one thing that I think is also super important is even if you feel like you can power through, maybe you'll be successful at powering through and doing something. But I also think people should think about the impact that has on everyone around you, because it can distort expectations. And now everyone feels like they have to power through. And you know, you don't want to do that. Sure, maybe you can do it successfully once, but eventually you burn out, right? Or someone else will burn out, and it still has a negative effect. And so I just think that it could even be a really bad example to do. And I wish people would think about the examples they're setting.
Can I just add more one point? Actually, I was chatting with a friend, I think it was a week ago, and we're actually talking about maybe, I'm not saying that we actually need to do that, but I think it's time now we start controlling the requirement for a particular job. I think it's actually getting out of hand. For example, I think people start exploring people now, really in job requirement. And people, for example, for country like me, for Africa and other countries in development, they start accepting the job because they need food, they need to eat, they need to provide. And there is no one fighting for this kind of people, because if they don't pick the job, they will be jobless, for example. And the requirement that these companies are putting in one person it's too much. It's really too much. And I think no one is doing nothing. And I think it's becoming even worse, because I think the computer science is development and the stack is becoming bigger, and companies are refusing to bring more people to divide the stack, and they want to put all the burden in a single person. And I think it's not okay, and it's the time to start really giving attention to this particular point.
Absolutely. Jens, how about we try and find another audience question just to keep things moving here.
You're muted again.
So this is the final question. We're reaching like 7 o'clock, and in an hour we have the AMA. So what can C++ meeting do to support diversity, possibly not only during the meeting?
Tina, do you want to start us off? Oh no, Hannah's raising her hand. Go for it, Hannah.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Representation. That's all probably we need.
I want to add to that, because I spoke to somebody about that recently. The problem, like somebody said, like, oh yeah, we need role models and stuff, but sometimes you just need the binary of knowing that such a person exists. You like for me, if I can see someone that is more senior than me, that is older than me, that is in a different life period than me, doing this job, being successful, or being happy and succeeding, that means that is possible, right? Because I don't have a lot of those people that I can look to and say, okay, there is a future where I can be a grandmother and coding, right? I want that. I want to see that, because there's so little of that. And so that goes back to the age discrimination as well. Sometimes you feel like all female developers die at the age of 30. And it's like, what happened to them? I don't know. They disappeared. So we need representation, and we need representation that is intersectional. So it's like we want to see women, and we want to see older women, but we want to see Black and brown women. We want to see women of different cultures and religions, with headscarves, without headscarves. We need to see someone that is similar to us enough that we can think, okay, it's possible for me too, because we don't have that. So we need someone, and oftentimes all it takes is like one person. It's like that person, okay, it's possible, right? So yes, representation.
I remember you seeing on CPTCon, I think it was 2017, and it was like, yes.
Same.
Philippe.
Yes, I think not only Meet C++, I think we can generalize a little more discussion to other conferences also. I think there is particular conferences, I'm not saying about Meet C++ or CPPCon, I won't say names over here, but I kind of see kind of a pattern, right? The speakers are almost the same, and well, it's a little bit hard to talk about these kind of things. And I think we need to start giving or maybe looking for more people. And I think, for example, Meeting C++ and other conference, they need to start motivating more people, because if you start actually having the same people all the time, or the majority is the same, well, you need to start looking to find out what's the problem, right? Maybe the problem is not because they are not qualified, or there is the problem is not that they don't are good speakers. Maybe the problem is other, right? Maybe there's something that is real, that is not actually really part of the reality that they are afraid. So I think the conference people need to come out with more guidelines on how to get accepted on this conference, and how to can start, for example. I think it's also part of the conference people to start actually breaking this, try to do some research to find out what's the problem, because having the same speakers all the time, or the majority, because you can see, oh, there is this conference, you can know which the speaker will be automatically. So I think it's not helping too much.
Yeah. Patricia, you had a follow-up. Go for it.
Yeah, no, it's very much related to what he said earlier. Actually, for another question, we have an opportunity to mentor, to train, and to help people to practice so that they can become speakers, to nurture them in that way, and I think that is extremely important, and giving them the support, but also giving them the opportunity, right? And that means both the opportunity to learn from senior people who have lots of experience in this, but also giving the opportunity to get on stage and do it. And that comes back to some of the things that Philip said earlier about access when it comes to national access. Like, you have to be able to get a visa for the conference to speak at the conference, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes that means maybe it's a time issue. So some countries, the visa process is so long that by the time you get from acceptance to the conference is too short for you to actually be able to do the visa, or you are not able to do the visa. And then it's like, what can we do to provide access for people who are not, who will not be able to physically attend? Maybe we can provide a way for them to do remote presentations, or so it has to do with like looking for solutions, like he said, to the challenges, right? So I'm just basically reiterating what he said already.
I want to try and give Tina an opportunity for the last word here, and then I think we have to wrap up from what Jens has said. So Tina, last word, go for it.
Yeah, I basically agree with everyone. As my perspective, as a relatively new speaker, I noticed as well that the conferences have the same speakers over and over, and it is really intimidating, because you know they are good. You know the speakers are good, and people are coming to the conferences because of the famous speakers. And so this is really something that is hard to get over if you want to start speaking at conferences. So.
Couldn't agree more. This is fantastic, and I think we're to Jens to close this out.
So, well, maybe also I say something about that. So, I have been experimenting with online communities in the last year, and what I see is that this has attracted a worldwide and very diverse audience that would not have been included otherwise. And I think that by the next year, like 1 year later, we'll see a lot of that more coming to fruition. You kind of have to offer something for those people to come to learn, to build up on, and exploring like how to do lightning talks so that people don't have to give a full talk at the beginning. And also then, of course, yeah, we have usually in Berlin a track for new speakers. And as Philippe mentioned, yes, other conferences, meaning C++ is still the only conference which has the tickets which are free for students and for support, which I can do, which I always have done. And in the last 2 years with the pandemic, it was a lot easier to offer that thanks to the support from Hannah and her sponsorship from Avast. And now let's let's close the panel on something positive. Can we just like add like what did you see change in a positive way within the recent time frame regarding this? Like what did you notice? Like how was it in the past? How is it now? What is better for you?
While people think briefly, I will say what's better for me. It's better for me being on panels like this, where I just get to like make these wonderful people talk about all of the amazing stuff they're doing. And Patricia, you had a hand, so I know you're ready to start. Go for it.
It's sort of related to that, and I think to a lot of the things that Tina also talked about earlier about. When we went into the pandemic, a lot of employers, but also conferences and meetups had to go into some kind of online mode. And I think we've discovered that actually granted access to a lot of people who haven't had access before. And I hope going forward that lesson means that we won't go all the way back. We have realized that there were opportunities that we discovered in this process, and that we can maybe when we go back to like post COVID, that we are more in a hybrid mode, where we can still have an online experience where people can access the conferences even though they can't physically travel. And that's true for even like if you're from if it's expensive to travel, but it's also like if you're you for health issues you can't travel, or if it is you're you can't because of family issues, maybe you're home with kids or dogs. So there are many reasons why traveling might not be something that you can do, but being able to still participate and being included in the kind of hybrid event and a hybrid kind of working is something that I have hopes for in the future, because I think we've shown the upside. So yeah. Hopefully.
I think Charlotte wants to help Hannah respond here, maybe. No.
We can't hear you, Hannah.
Sorry, I think she doesn't want me to do anything. She wants to be pet.
Any other positive experiences folks want to share? Go for it, Philippe.
I think people are starting to understand, some people at least, not everybody, their role in order to have a more diverse community. And I think it's something positive that I have been seeing lately. More people are starting to realize that it's not only the government, it's not only the company, that they also are important to make the environment healthy. And I think it's something that I have been seeing. And I see people, they are not only in one stage. Some people keep evolving toward this mentality, and I think it's really good. I think people are realizing that it's something to keep learning, and I think it's the positive thing that I've been seeing lately.
Absolutely. Tina, did you have anything you wanted to share?
Not sure, to be honest. Yeah, I think everything was already said.
All right. With that, I think we're all done here. And a huge thank you to all four, now five of our fantastic panelists, as Charlotte has joined, and to Jens for hosting this panel. It's always a pleasure to see all of you and to be here.
Thanks to all of you, and we'll see when we do this again. And yeah, so I think I'm going to close the live stream then. And thank you to the audience for listening. Thank you for the questions; they were great. And then yeah, there was a little technical error that I scheduled like 90-minute panel, but that's a bit too much for people on a panel. So don't want to go that way. And with that, thank you, and we're gonna see us then in the AMA with Gabi at the full hour. That's also like the reason he was last year in the panel, and I would have loved to include him, but I thought he's giving an AMA like just an hour later, and maybe not put him too much there. So and then that's it, and I'll stop the stream. Bye.